The file screamed against iron. Blood dripped from her ankle where the shackle had torn the skin. The dead men stank in the October sun. She watched the stranger's hands scarred steady patient work the metal that had held her for 32 days. When the chain finally snapped, she didn't run. She couldn't. Her legs had forgotten how to carry her anywhere but toward pain. He stood, this ghost of a man with eyes like winter, and said the first true thing she'd heard in a year. "You're free now." She didn't believe him. Not yet. Before we begin, if you're watching from anywhere in the world, leave a comment with your city name. I want to see how far this story travels. And please subscribe to this channel. This story is long, it's raw, and it deserves to be heard all the way to the end. Trust me. Stay with me. Now let's go back to the beginning. The wagon had been burning for hours before Samuel Cross found it. He smelled it first. Burnt canvas. Scorched wood. Something else underneath, something that made his stomach turn. Blood. Lots of it. His horse, a gray mare named Mercy, snorted and sidestepped, her ears flat. She didn't want to go closer. Neither did he. But Samuel Cross had learned a long time ago that what you want and what you do are two different animals entirely. He dismounted. The rifle came out of the saddle scabbard smooth. Old habit. The war had been over 13 years, but his body didn't know that. His body still thought every shadow was a reb, every sound a musket crack. The wagon sat crooked in the arroyo. One wheel was gone. The mules were dead throats slit, already bloating. Two men lay nearby, both wearing black coats. Preachers. Or they had been. Their eyes were open, staring at nothing. Flies crawled across their faces. Samuel had seen enough dead men to know these had been gone since yesterday, maybe longer. Bandits. He walked the perimeter. Boot prints. 5, maybe 6 men. They'd torn through the supplies, flour spilled white across the red dirt beans, scattered a broken barrel of salted pork. They'd taken the whiskey. They always took the whiskey. And the ammunition. He found the empty crates. A sound. Small. Metal on metal. He froze. The rifle came up. He moved toward the back of the wagon, his boots silent on the sand. And then he saw her. She was chained to the axle. The chain was heavy. Livestock chain. The kind you used for an ox or a mule, not a human being. The cuff around her ankle had rubbed the skin raw. Blood-dried black crusted around the iron. She was Apache. Young. Maybe 20. Her dress, what was left of it, was stiff with dirt and old blood. Her hair hung in matted ropes. Her face was gaunt, the cheekbones too sharp. When his shadow fell across her, she made a sound. Not words. Just a sound low in her throat like a snared animal. She tried to scramble backward. The chain snapped tight. She gasped, her hands clawing at the dirt. Easy. His voice came out rougher than he meant. He cleared his throat. Easy now. I ain't gonna hurt you. She stared at him. Her eyes were black, bottomless. They didn't blink. They didn't leave his face. He lowered the rifle. Slowly. He set it down against the wagon wheel, far from her reach, far from his. He held up his hands. Empty. Palms out. "I'm gonna help you," he said. "You understand English?" "Nothing." He reached for his saddlebag. She flinched so hard, she hit her head against the wagon bed. He stopped. "Water," he said. He pulled out the canteen. He uncorked it. He took a drink first, swallowed, showed her it was safe. Then he set it down on the ground. Close to her. But not too close. "It's yours." He stepped back. Way back. Gave her space. She watched him. For a long time she didn't move. Then with shaking hands she reached for the canteen. She brought it to her lips. She drank. Water spilled down her chin, soaked the front of her dress. She didn't care. She drank until it was empty, her throat working desperate. When she was done, she let it fall. She looked at him again. Still wary. Still waiting for the trap. "The chain," he said. He pulled the file from his pack. "I'm gonna cut it. It'll make noise. Don't be scared." He knelt. She went rigid. Every muscle in her body locked. He didn't touch her. He touched the chain. He set the file to the iron link and began to work. The rasp of metal on metal filled the arroyo. Each stroke made her jerk. He kept his eyes on the work. He didn't look at her face. He didn't want to see the fear there. He'd seen enough fear in his life. 20 minutes. His hands cramped. The file grew hot. Sweat dripped off his nose. The link started to give. A crack appeared. Then another. Then snap. The chain fell away. She stared at it. At the broken link. At her ankle still wearing the cuff, but no longer tethered. She looked at him like she didn't understand what had just happened. "Can you stand?" he asked. She didn't answer. She didn't move. "All right." He stood. Backed up. "I got some jerky. And a blanket. I'm gonna leave 'em here. You take what you need." He walked to his saddlebag. He pulled out the dried meat wrapped in cloth, an old wool blanket threadbare but clean. He brought them back and set them on the ground, well out of arm's reach. Then he walked away. 20 feet. He sat down on a rock and stared at the horizon. The sun was starting to drop. The desert turned gold, then orange, then red. He could hear her behind him, the rustle of cloth, the small sounds of her eating. He didn't turn around. When he finally looked back, she was standing. Barely. She was leaning against the wagon wheel, her legs shaking. The blanket was wrapped around her shoulders. She'd eaten the jerky. All of it. She was staring at him. "You come with me," he said. "You'll be safe. You stay here, you'll be dead by morning. Coyotes. Or the cold." She looked around. At the dead men. At the empty desert. At the sky already darkening. He stood. He walked to his horse. He mounted. He waited. He knew he should ride away. Leave her. Taking her was asking for trouble. She was Apache. He was white. The territory didn't look kindly on men who took in Indian women. They had words for men like that. Ugly words. And she was likely already dead inside. The things they'd done to her, he could see it in her eyes. The emptiness. The break. He was a man who wanted to be left alone. That's all he'd wanted for the past 5 years. Solitude. Silence. No one to bury. No one to fail. He looked at her. She was still standing, still watching him. And for just a second he didn't see her. He saw Elara, his wife, her hand gripping his, her face pale slick with sweat. The blood, so much blood. The baby, their daughter, who'd taken one breath and then none. The cabin silent, except for his own ragged breathing. The grave he'd dug with his bare hands because the ground was frozen and he didn't have a shovel. He'd failed them. He couldn't save them. But maybe... "Come on," he said, his voice quiet. He held out his hand. She looked at it, at his face, at the desert. And then with slow, limping steps, her bare feet bleeding on the stones, she walked to him. She didn't take his hand, but she stood beside the horse. He reached down. He hooked his arm around her waist. She weighed nothing. He lifted her, settled her in front of him in the saddle. Her back pressed against his chest. She was rigid, trembling so hard he could feel it in his bones. He wrapped the blanket tighter around her. He turned the horse's head toward the mountains. "You're safe now," he said. She didn't answer. She didn't make a sound, but her hand, small and cold, gripped the edge of his sleeve. And she didn't let go. The cabin was 2 hours north. The trail was rough, winding through pinon and juniper. The air grew colder as they climbed. By the time they reached the clearing, the sun was gone. Stars scattered across the sky like broken glass. Samuel dismounted. He lifted her down. She swayed. He caught her. She pulled away. Fast. Her eyes wide. "Easy," he said again. "I'm just hold on." He left her standing there, wrapped in the blanket, and led the horse to the small corral. He unsaddled. Mercy brushed her down, gave her grain. The routine was automatic. He'd done it 10,000 times. It gave him time to think. What the hell was he doing? He didn't know her name, didn't know where she'd come from, didn't know who'd chained her or why. She could be dangerous. She could be diseased. She could bring trouble down on him like a rock slide. But when he walked back to the cabin, she was still standing exactly where he'd left her. Like she was waiting for permission to move, to breathe. "Come on," he said. He opened the door. She didn't follow. He turned. "You'll freeze out here." She looked at the cabin, then at him. Her jaw was set. She was afraid. But she wasn't going inside. He sighed. "All right, you wait here." He went in, lit the lamp, built up the fire until it roared. The cabin was small. One room. A cot, a table, 2 chairs, a dry sink. Shelves lined with tins and books. His rifle rack on the wall. It smelled like old smoke and loneliness. He brought out the lamp, set it on the porch, pulled the chair outside, motioned for her to sit. She didn't. She stood. "Suit yourself." He went back inside. He made gruel. Cornmeal and water, a spoonful of molasses. It was thin, easy to swallow. He brought it out in a tin bowl. He held it out to her. She stared at it. "Food," he said. "Eat." She took the bowl. She didn't sit. She stood there holding it, staring at him, waiting for what he didn't know. He turned his back, walked to the edge of the porch, gave her space. He heard her eat, small sounds, the scrape of the spoon. When he glanced back, she'd finished. She set the bowl on the ground. "You can have the cot," he said. "Inside. I'll sleep on the floor." She looked at the open door, at the darkness inside. She shook her head. "It's gonna freeze tonight," he said. "You'll die out here." She walked to the edge of the porch. She sat down, her back against the cabin wall, her knees drawn up. She pulled the blanket tight around herself. He stared at her. Stubborn. She was stubborn. "Fine." He grabbed another blanket from inside. He threw it over her. "Freeze if you want." He went inside. He left the door cracked open. He sat in the chair by the fire. He didn't sleep. He listened. To the wind, to her coughing, to the coyotes howling in the distance. Around midnight, the coughing got worse. Deep rattling. He stood, walked to the door. She was curled on her side now, shaking violently. Her lips were blue. "Damn it," he muttered. He scooped her up. She was too weak to fight. He carried her inside, laid her on the cot. She made a small sound, protest or pain he couldn't tell. He piled every blanket he owned on top of her. He built the fire up until the cabin was stifling. He sat beside the cot. He put his hand on her forehead. She was burning up. "Don't you die on me," he said. "You hear me? Don't you die." She was sick for 6 days. He'd seen fever before, in the war, in the field hospitals. Men thrashing, screaming, calling for their mothers. This was worse. She didn't scream. She just shook. Her eyes rolled back. Her breath came in shallow gasps. She muttered in a language he didn't know. Apache, probably. It sounded like prayers, or curses. He bathed her face with cool water. He forced broth between her lips. Thin soup, just enough to keep her alive. She vomited most of it back up. He cleaned it. He didn't complain. He'd cleaned worse. On the 3rd night she seized. Her back arched. Her hands clawed the air. He held her down gently as he could so she wouldn't hurt herself. When it passed, she went limp. He thought she was dead. He put his ear to her chest. Her heart was still beating. Faint, but there. "Come on," he whispered. "Come on, girl. Fight." He didn't know why he cared. He'd seen plenty of people die. In the war, after the war, his own wife, his daughters. Death was just part of living. You didn't fight it. You just endured. But he didn't want her to die. Maybe because he'd already buried too many people. Maybe because he was tired of graves. Or maybe because when he looked at her, he saw something he recognized. A soul caught between two worlds, belonging to neither. On the 6th morning, the fever broke. He woke to find her watching him. He'd fallen asleep in the chair beside the cot, his head on his arms. When he sat up, his back screamed. He was too old to sleep in chairs. She was awake. Her eyes were clear. The terror was still there, but the fever fog was gone. "Water?" he asked. She nodded. A small movement. He brought her the canteen. She drank. Slowly this time. "You're gonna be all right," he said. "You're gonna live." She looked at him, really looked, studying his face, the scar on his jaw, the gray in his beard, the exhaustion in his eyes. "Thank you," she said. Her voice was hoarse. Barely a whisper, but it was English. Clear English. He blinked. "You speak English?" She nodded. "Why didn't you say so before?" She looked away. "I did not know if you were safe." "Fair enough." "What's your name?" She hesitated. Then, "Ayanna." "Ayanna." He tested the word. "I'm Samuel. Samuel Cross." She didn't respond. She just pulled the blanket tighter around herself. "You rest," he said. "I'll make something to eat." He stood, walked to the fire. He could feel her eyes on his back, watching, always watching. She didn't trust him. He didn't blame her. She'd probably been taught her whole life that white men were devils. And the men who'd had her before him, the preachers, the bandits, whoever else, they'd proven that true. So he gave her space. He didn't push. He didn't ask questions. He just did the work. He moved the cot out to the back porch. It was covered, sheltered from the wind. He built a small fireplace out of river stone and clay, crude but functional. He hung a piece of canvas for a door. It wasn't much. Barely a room. But it was hers. When he showed it to her, she stared. "You lock it," he said, pointing to the wooden latch he'd carved. "From the inside. I can't get in unless you open it." She touched the latch, ran her fingers over the wood. "Why?" she asked. "Because it's yours." That night, he heard the latch slide into place. The sound was small, but it felt like something. Like maybe she was starting to believe him. Winter came fast. The first snow fell in early November. By December, the drifts were waist-high. The world shrank. It was just the cabin, the corral, the endless white. He worked. He always worked. Chopping wood, fixing fence, grinding corn. She watched from a distance at first. Then one morning she was there, standing 20 feet away, watching him split logs. He paused. "You need something." She pointed at the axe. "I help." "It's heavy," he said. "I am strong." He hesitated. Then he handed her the smaller hatchet, showed her how to stand, how to swing. She was clumsy at first. The blade glanced off the wood. But she didn't quit. She kept swinging until she got it right. After that, she was always there, holding the post while he tamped the dirt, grinding corn while he repaired the harness. She didn't talk much, but she was present, working, learning. He started teaching her, not on purpose, it just happened. He'd mutter to himself while he worked, talking through the steps the way he always had when he was alone, and she'd listen. She'd mimic his movements. She was smart, sharp. She learned fast. One night they were sitting by the fire. He was mending a bridle. She was sharpening his knife on a whetstone. The rhythm was steady, comfortable. "Samuel," she said. He looked up. She didn't meet his eyes. She kept her gaze on the blade. "The men before you. The ones in the black coats." He waited. "They said they were saving me. They said I was heathen, that I needed to be taught." Her hand stilled. "They hurt me. His jaw tightened. I know. You do not hurt me. No. Why? He set down the bridle. He looked at her, really looked. Because hurting people don't make 'em better. It just makes 'em broken. She finally met his eyes. You are not broken. He almost laughed. It was a bitter sound. I am, just in different ways. She tilted her head. What broke you? He didn't answer. Not right away. He stared into the fire, watched the flames dance. My wife, he said finally. Ilara. She died. Her and our baby. 5 years ago. I couldn't save them. Ayana was quiet. Then, that is why your heart sleeps alone. He looked at her sharply. What? Your heart, she said. It is asleep. It does not sing. It does not fight. It just waits. He didn't know what to say to that, so he said nothing. She went back to sharpening the knife. The sound filled the silence. But something had shifted. Something small, fragile, like the first crack in river ice. Spring came slow. The snow melted. The creek swelled. The aspens budded pale green against the dark pines. And Ayana changed. She wasn't the hollow-eyed girl he'd found anymore. She was still wary, still watchful. But there was something else now. Curiosity. She asked questions. About everything. Why do you have so many books? I like to read. What do they say? Stories, histories, poems. Teach me. So he did. He pulled out the old primer he'd bought for Ilara back when she'd wanted to learn to read better. He showed Ayana the letters, the sounds. She absorbed it like water into sand. Cup, he said, pointing to the tin mug. Puh. She sounded it out. Cup. Fire. Fire. She frowned. Fire. She practiced every night, by lamplight, her finger tracing the words, her lips moving silently. She was fierce about it, determined. One morning he came in from checking the traps. She was sitting at the table, the primer open in front of her. She looked up. Words stay, she said. They do not disappear like breath. He nodded. That's right. Then I will learn them all. She smiled. It was small, but it was real. He felt something crack open in his chest. Something he'd thought was long dead. The trouble started in March. He had to go to town. They were out of salt low on coffee, and he needed ammunition. He'd put it off as long as he could, but winter had been hard on the supplies. I'll be back by sundown, he told her. You stay here. Keep the rifle loaded. Don't open the door for anyone. I will be safe, she said. He hesitated. Then he mounted Mercy and rode out. Santa Fe was busy. The plaza was packed with wagons and horses, men back from their trap lines ready to sell pelts and buy whiskey. He tied Mercy to the post outside the general store and went in. The moment he pushed through the door, the talk stopped. Silas Cooper was behind the counter. He stared. Cross. Silas. Samuel handed him the list. Need these. Silas didn't move. He just stared. A man leaned against the stove. Big, broad-shouldered. Clay Hackett from the Miller Ranch. Heard you got company up on that ridge cross? Samuel ignored him. Silas, the supplies. Heard you're keeping an Apache girl, Clay pressed. That true. My business is my own. Not when it concerns a Christian soul. Another man stepped forward. Jeb Smith. He spat tobacco juice on the floor. We heard what you did. Took that girl from Reverend Pike. He was saving her. Pike bought her like livestock. Samuel said, his voice cold. She was half dead when I found her. And now you're keeping her. Clay grinned. It was an ugly expression. Bet you're having a real fine time, ain't you? Samuel turned, slow. His hand dropped to his side. Not to his gun, not yet, but close. You got something to say, Hackett? I'm saying you're a disgrace, a squaw man. Your half-breed wife died, so you just went and got another one. The mention of Alara was a lit match to dry tinder. Samuel moved. He hit Clay once, hard. The punch landed clean on the jaw, bone cracked. Clay went down like a felled tree crashing into a barrel of pickles. Jeb lunged. Samuel ducked under the wild swing, drove his fist into Jeb's gut. The man doubled over, gasping. A third man, a drifter Samuel didn't know, grabbed him from behind. Samuel spun, threw him off, slammed his elbow into the man's face. Blood sprayed. It was over in seconds. Clay was groaning on the floor, holding his jaw. Jeb was on his knees, wheezing. The drifter was spitting teeth. Samuel stood in the wreckage. Flour dusted the air. Pickle brine spread across the floorboards. He was breathing hard. His knuckles were split. He pulled out his coin purse, threw it on the counter. Take what I owe, for the supplies and the pickles. Silas just stared. Samuel walked out. He mounted Mercy, and he rode out of Santa Fe, not looking back. But he knew. He knew with a sickening certainty. They'd come for her. So, when he got home, Ayanna was standing on the porch. She'd heard him coming. She always did. She saw his face, the swelling around his eye, the blood on his knuckles. She didn't say anything. She just went inside, came back with a bowl of water, a cloth, and the tin of salve. She knelt in front of him. He tried to wave her off. It's nothing. She ignored him. She took his hand. Her touch was gentle. She cleaned the blood from his knuckles. The water stung. He hissed. Hold still, she commanded. He obeyed. She worked in silence, cleaning, applying the salve. Her face was close to his. He could see the concentration in her eyes, the small furrow between her brows. When she was done, she didn't pull away. She looked at him. No one ever bled for me, she whispered. The words hit him harder than Clay's fist ever could. They won't come here, he said. His voice was rough. I made sure of that. She held his gaze. You are not like them. No. You are warm. He didn't know what to say to that, so he just sat there, her hands still holding his, the fire crackling behind them. And for the first time in 5 years, Samuel Cross didn't feel alone. That night, Samuel didn't sleep. He sat in the chair by the window, his rifle across his knees, watching the darkness. Every sound made him tense. The wind in the pines, the creak of the cabin settling, the distant call of an owl. He waited for hoofbeats, for voices, for the mob he knew was coming. Ayanna emerged from her room just after midnight. She'd heard him moving around. She stood in the doorway, wrapped in the red shawl he'd given her. You should rest, she said. Can't. They will come. He didn't lie to her. Yes. She crossed the room. She sat on the floor beside his chair, not touching him, just near. Her presence was quiet, solid. I am not afraid, she said. You should be. I have been afraid every day of my life since I was 12 years old. I am tired of being afraid. She looked up at him. If they come, we fight. Ayanna, we fight, she repeated. Her voice was steel. He looked at her. This woman who'd been chained like an animal 6 months ago, who'd been beaten and broken and left to die. She wasn't a victim anymore. She was a survivor, and she was choosing to stand. All right, he said quietly. We fight. She reached up. She put her hand on his. Her fingers were warm. They sat like that until dawn, watching, waiting, together. 3 days passed, then 4. No one came. Samuel didn't relax. He knew men like Hackett, prideful men. They'd come. They'd just wait until they had numbers, until they had a plan. He used the time to prepare. He cleaned every gun he owned, the rifle, the shotgun, the pistol. He counted his ammunition, 43 rounds for the rifle, 20 for the pistol, 12 shells for the shotgun. It would have to be enough. He showed Ayanna how to reload, how to aim, how to breathe and squeeze, not pull. She learned fast. She always did. "If they come, and I go down," he said, "you take the rifle. You run for the high rocks. You hide. You don't come out until you're sure they're gone. I will not leave you." "You will. You'll survive. That's all that matters." She shook her head. "You do not understand. I survived before. I lived in a cage. I do not want to survive anymore. I want to live. Here. With you." He stared at her. The words hung between them. Heavy. Real. "Ayanna," he started. "Do not tell me I am wrong," she said. "Do not tell me I am confused. I know what I feel." "You feel grateful. That's all. I saved you. You think you owe me." "No." She stepped closer. "You gave me my life back. But I am giving you mine. That is different." He wanted to argue, to tell her she was young, that she didn't know what she was saying. But the look in her eyes stopped him. She knew exactly what she was saying. "This world," he said slowly, "it don't look kindly on what we are. White man, Apache woman. They got words for it. Ugly words. I know the words. I have heard them all my life. It ain't just words. It's violence. I know violence too." She put her hand on his chest, over his heart. "I know cold. I know pain. I know what it is to be alone even when people are all around you." Her fingers curled into his shirt. "But with you, I am warm. I am safe. I am me." Samuel felt something break inside him. A wall he'd built 5 years ago. A wall made of grief and guilt and self-imposed isolation. It cracked. It crumbled. He cupped her face in his hands. Her skin was soft. Her eyes were clear, looking at him like he was the only thing in the world that mattered. "You deserve better than me," he whispered. "I deserve to choose," she whispered back. "And I choose you." He kissed her. It was gentle at first, tentative, like he was afraid she'd break. But she pressed closer. Her arms wrapped around his neck, and the kiss deepened. It wasn't about desire. Not really. It was about two broken people finding something whole in each other. When they pulled apart, she was smiling. That small, rare smile that made his chest ache. "Now we are more than just friends," she said. "Yeah." His voice was rough. "Reckon we are." That night she didn't sleep in her room. She slept beside him. Not because he asked, because she wanted to. They lay in the narrow cot, her back against his chest, his arm around her waist. She fit perfectly, like she'd always belonged there. He listened to her breathe, felt the steady rise and fall of her chest. For the first time in 5 years, he felt something other than emptiness. He felt peace. The weather warmed. The snow melted to mud. The creek ran high and loud. Samuel worked on expanding the cabin. He knocked down the wall of Ayanna's small room and built outward. Proper walls. A window. A real door. It would be a bedroom. A place for them. Ayanna worked beside him, handing him nails, holding boards steady. She was strong, stronger than she looked, and she never complained. Not about the heat, not about the splinters, not about the ache in her muscles. One afternoon they were taking a break, sitting on the porch drinking water from the dipper. She was quiet, more quiet than usual. "What's wrong?" he asked. "Nothing is wrong." "You're thinking something." She looked at him, hesitated. Then, "I have not bled in 2 months." He went still. "You sure?" "Yes." "Could be the sickness, or the stress. Sometimes women—" "It is not the sickness." She put her hand on her stomach. flat, still. But there was something in her eyes. A knowledge. I am with child. The world tilted. A baby. His baby. Their baby. He couldn't breathe, couldn't think. All he could see was Alara, pale, dying, the blood, the tiny silent body. He'd failed them. He'd stood there and watched them die, and he couldn't do anything. Samuel! Ayana's voice cut through the panic. She took his hand, pressed it to her stomach. I am not her. You don't know that. I am not her, she repeated, firm. I am strong. I am healthy. And you are not alone this time. What if we live? She looked at him. What if we do not let fear steal this from us? He wanted to believe her. God, he wanted to. But the fear was a living thing inside him, clawing, choking. I can't lose you, he said. His voice broke. I can't do that again. You will not lose me. She leaned forward, kissed him. Soft. Sure. We will do this together. He pulled her close, buried his face in her hair, and for the first time since she'd told him, he let himself feel something other than terror. He felt hope. They needed supplies. More than what they had. Cloth, salt, medicine, things for the baby. Samuel had avoided going back to Santa Fe. But there was no choice now. I will come with you, Ayana said. No. Yes. It's not safe. It is not safe here alone. She crossed her arms. I am your wife. I will not hide. You ain't my wife. Not legally. She stared at him. Her expression hardened. Then make me your wife. He blinked. What? Marry me. Before God. Before the world. If you want me to be safe, make me yours, in a way they cannot ignore. Ayana, it don't work like that. A piece of paper won't. Then we do not need paper. She walked to him, took his hand. My people do not need paper. We make promises. We speak them. We live them. I promise myself to you, Samuel Cross. I promise to stand beside you, to bear your children, to share your life. Do you promise the same? His throat was tight. You know I do. Then say it. I promise myself to you, Ayana. I will protect you, provide for you, love you until I die. She smiled. Then we are married. It was that simple. No church, no preacher, no judge. Just two people making promises in a small cabin in the middle of nowhere. And it felt more real than anything Samuel had ever done. They rode into Santa Fe 2 days later. Ayana sat behind him on Mercy, her arms around his waist. She wore the red shawl. Her hair was in the married braids. She looked like exactly what she was, an Apache woman with a white man's child growing inside her. The town went silent the moment they appeared. Men stopped mid-conversation. Women froze on their stoops. Children stared. The weight of their judgment pressed down like a physical thing. Samuel kept his eyes forward. His hand stayed near his gun. Ayana didn't flinch. She sat straight. Proud. Unashamed. They stopped at the general store. Samuel dismounted, helped Ayana down. She took his arm. They walked in together. Silas Cooper looked like he'd seen a ghost. Cross, I didn't expect... Need supplies, Samuel said. He handed over the list. Silas's eyes flicked to Ayana, then away. Fast. Right. Yes. One moment. He scurried around gathering items. Flour, salt, coffee, lard. He wouldn't look at them. Wouldn't speak except to mutter prices. Samuel paid. More than the items were worth. Silas was gouging him. He didn't care. He just wanted to get out. They were loading the mule when a voice stopped them. "Mr. Cross." Samuel turned. A tall man in a black coat stood in the street. His face was thin, pinched. His eyes were pale and cold. "I am Reverend Josiah Pike," the man said. "I believe you have something that belongs to me." Samuel's hand dropped to his gun. "I don't have nothing of yours." "The girl." Pike pointed at Ayanna. "She is a ward of the mission, entrusted to my care by the territorial government. You abducted her. I saved her. You had her chained like a dog. I was transporting her from a dangerous situation. She was violent. The restraints were necessary." Pike pulled papers from his coat. "I have legal documents. She is to be returned to my custody immediately." "She ain't going anywhere with you." "Then you are defying the law." Pike's smile was thin. "Sheriff?" Sheriff Brody stepped out of his office. He was a weary man, weathered. He looked at Samuel, then at Pike, then at Ayanna. "Reverend's got papers, Cross," Brody said. He didn't sound happy about it. "Says she's his legal ward until she's 21. "He bought her," Samuel said, "from soldiers who captured her. He's a slaver." "That's a serious accusation." "It is the truth," Ayanna said. Her voice rang out, clear, strong. She stepped forward. "Reverend Pike is a liar. He did not find me. He paid $20 silver for me. He kept me chained for 32 days. He beat me when I would not pray his prayers." Pike's face went white. "Lies. She is heathen. She is corrupted by this man's—" "I am not heathen." Ayanna's voice cut through his. "I am Apache. I am a free woman. And I am this man's wife." The street erupted. Gasps. Shouts. Someone called her a whore. Someone else spat. But Ayanna didn't flinch. She stood tall. Her hand found Samuel's. She gripped it tight. Brody stared. "Wife." "Yes," Samuel said. "She's my wife. She chose me. I chose her. And if anyone tries to take her, they'll have to go through me." Pike's face twisted. "This is an abomination, a sin against God and nature." "Maybe," Samuel said. "But it ain't your concern." Brody sighed. He looked at Pike. "Your papers say ward, not slave. If she's married, that changes things." "She cannot consent to marriage," Pike sputtered. "She is a savage. She has no legal standing." "She's standing right here," Brody said. "And she looks like she's consenting to me." He turned to Samuel. "Get out of town, now, and don't come back for a while. Let this settle." Samuel didn't need to be told twice. He helped Ayanna onto the mule. He mounted Mercy. They rode out. Pike's screaming followed them. "You will pay for this, Cross, you and your heathen whore. God will strike you down." Samuel didn't look back. They were a mile outside town when Ayanna started laughing. It was a bright, clear sound. Startling. Samuel glanced back at her. "What's funny? Did you see his face?" She was grinning. "When I called him a liar, he looked like he had swallowed a toad." Despite everything, Samuel smiled. Yeah, he did." She leaned forward, rested her head against his back. "I am not afraid of him anymore." "You should be. He won't let this go." "Then let him come." Her voice was calm, certain. "We will be ready." They were ready. Samuel spent the next week preparing. He scouted the approaches to the cabin, cleared sight lines, stashed ammunition in strategic spots. He showed Ayanna where to run if things went bad. She nodded, listened. But he could tell she had no intention of running. At night they lay together in the new room he'd built. The window let in moonlight. She rested her head on his chest, her hand on her stomach. "Do you want a son or a daughter?" she asked. "Don't matter, long as you both live." "I will live." She was quiet for a moment. "What will we name the baby?" "Thought maybe. If it's a girl, we could name her after my mother." Catherine. Kate for short. Kate. Ayanna tested the name. I like it. What if it is a boy? Don't know. What do your people name boys? Strong names. Names that mean something. Like Nietzsche. He leads. Or Closen. He is brave. She looked up at him. What does Samuel mean? It means God has heard. She smiled. Then if it is a boy, we will name him Samuel. So God will hear him too. His chest tightened. You sure? Yes. He kissed the top of her head. All right. Samuel or Kate. That's a good start. Yeah. Pike came on a Sunday. Not with a mob, not with a posse, with 4 men. Clay Hackett, his face still scarred from where Ayanna had slashed him. Jeb Smith, a drifter named Tom. And Pike himself. They rode up the trail in the late afternoon. Bold, arrogant, like they had every right. Samuel saw them from the ridge. He'd been checking snares. He dropped everything. Ran. His lungs burned. His legs screamed. By the time he reached the clearing, they were already at the cabin. Ayanna was outside, feeding the chickens. She froze when she saw them. Pike dismounted. Miss Ayanna, I've come to bring you home. This is my home. No. Your home is with the mission. With God's people. Where you can be saved. I do not need saving. Clay stepped forward. You're coming with us. One way or another. Ayanna backed toward the cabin. You have no right. We have the law. Pike held up his papers. The territorial judge signed these. You are my ward. You are coming back. No. Grab her, Pike said. Jeb and the drifter moved. Ayanna bolted. She ran for the door. But Hackett was faster. He caught her, slammed her against the cabin wall. She screamed, fought, clawed at his face. Hold still, you bitch, Hackett snarled. Samuel reached the clearing. He didn't shout. He didn't warn them. He just raised his rifle and fired. The bullet took the drifter in the shoulder. He spun, fell. Pike's horse reared. Jeb dove behind the water trough. Let her go. Samuel's voice was a roar. Let her go, or I kill you all. Hackett had Ayanna by the throat. He dragged her in front of him. Shield. You shoot, you hit her. Samuel's hands shook. He couldn't get a clean shot, couldn't risk it. Pike scrambled for his horse. This is murder, Cross, you're killing innocent men. Innocent. Samuel laughed. It was a harsh, bitter sound. You bought her, you beat her, you chained her like an animal. Ain't nothing innocent about you. Ayanna drove her elbow backward, into Hackett's ribs. He grunted. His grip loosened. She twisted, pulled the small knife from her belt, the one Samuel had given her for cutting vegetables, and slashed upward. The blade caught Hackett across the cheek. He screamed. Blood poured. He shoved her away. She hit the ground hard. Samuel's rifle swung to Hackett. But Jeb was moving, coming around the trough. Gun drawn. 2 shots rang out. Jeb jerked, staggered, looked down at his chest, at the blood blooming across his shirt. He fell. Samuel hadn't fired. Ayanna had. She stood by the door. Samuel's pistol in her hand. Smoke curling from the barrel. Her face was hard, cold. I told you, she said. We fight. Hackett scrambled for his horse. The drifter was crawling toward his. Pike was already mounted. They fled, galloping down the trail, leaving Jeb's body behind. Samuel lowered his rifle. He ran to Ayanna. You hurt? No. She was shaking. The gun slipped from her fingers. I killed him. You defended yourself. You defended us. I killed him. Her voice cracked. She looked at Jeb's body, at the blood pooling in the dirt. He pulled her close. Don't look. Don't think about it. Just breathe. She clung to him, her whole body trembling. He held her until the shaking stopped, until her breathing steadied. Then he looked at the body. They had to move it, had to bury it, had to clean up the evidence, because Brody might have let them go before. But now there was a dead man in his yard, and that changed everything. They buried Jeb in the woods, deep. Samuel didn't say words over the grave, didn't feel like the man deserved them. When it was done, they went back to the cabin. Samuel scrubbed the blood from the dirt. Ayanna washed her hands, over and over, until they were raw. "They will come back," she said. "I know. With more men?" "Probably." She looked at him. "What do we do?" He didn't have an answer, not yet. But he knew one thing. "We don't run." She nodded. "We do not run." That night, they held each other in the dark. Neither of them slept. They just listened, waiting for the sound of hoofbeats, for the mob, for the end. But the night stayed quiet. And when dawn came, they were still alive, still together, still fighting. Sheriff Brody came 3 days later, alone. He rode up slow, his hands visible, his rifle still in its scabbard. Samuel watched him from the ridge, waited until Brody dismounted before he showed himself. "You alone?" Samuel called out. "Yeah." Brody turned, raised his hands. "Just me. I came to talk." Samuel descended, rifle ready. "Talk fast." Brody looked tired, older than he had a week ago. "Pike filed a complaint. Says you ambushed him. Says you killed Jeb Smith in cold blood." "That's a lie." "I know it is." Brody sighed. "I found Pike's real papers, the ones he didn't show me. He bought that girl from a lieutenant at Fort Stanton. Paid $60, had receipts. Signed like she was livestock." He spat. "Makes me sick." Samuel lowered the rifle, slightly. "So why are you here?" "Because Pike's connected. He's got friends in the territorial government, in the church. He's making noise, loud noise. Says you're harboring a fugitive. Says you're corrupting a ward of the state. Says a lot of things that sound real bad in front of a judge. She's my wife. I know. I put that in my report. But cross the law here. It's murky. Some judges would honor that marriage. Some wouldn't. And if you get the wrong judge, they'll take her. They'll hang you. And they'll call it justice." Ayanna stepped out of the cabin. She'd been listening. "What do you want us to do?" Brody looked at her. Really looked. He saw the swell of her belly, small but unmistakable. His face softened. "You're with child." "Yes." He shook his head. "Lord have mercy." He turned back to Samuel. "Here's what I can do. I can file this as self-defense. I can say Jeb drew first. I can lose Pike's complaint in the paperwork for a month, maybe 2. But eventually it'll surface. And when it does, you need to be ready." "Ready how?" "Get a lawyer. Get witnesses who'll speak for you. Get something that says she chose you, that she ain't a slave, that she's a free woman making free choices." Brody mounted his horse. "Or run. Get out of the territory. Go to California, Oregon, somewhere they don't know your name." "I ain't running." "Then you better start fighting smarter, because Pike ain't done. And next time he won't come with 4 men. He'll come with 20, with the law, with torches." Brody looked at Ayanna again. "Ma'am, I'm sorry. I wish the world was different. But it ain't. And you two, you're asking it to change faster than it wants to." "We are not asking," Ayanna said. "We are living." Brody nodded slowly. "Yeah, I reckon you are." He rode off, didn't look back. Samuel and Ayanna stood in the yard. The sun was high, warm, but Samuel felt cold. "He is right," Ayanna said. "They will come again." "Yeah." "So we prepare." "We've been preparing." "No." She turned to him. We have been waiting. That is different. Waiting is for prey. We need to hunt. What are you saying? I am saying we do not let them choose the time. We do not let them choose the place. We go to them first. Ayanna, that's suicide. No. Suicide is sitting here until they burn us out. Her eyes were fierce. Pike has friends, but we need friends too. We need people who will speak for us, who will stand with us. There ain't nobody like that. Then we find them, or we make them. She put her hand on his arm. You said you would protect me, protect our child. This is how. He stared at her. This woman who'd been silent and terrified half a year ago was now telling him to go on the offensive. And damn if she wasn't right. All right, he said. We try it your way. The next morning, they rode to the Miller ranch. It was a risk. Clay Hackett worked for Jedediah Miller. But Miller was also a man who valued strength, who respected people who didn't back down. Samuel was gambling that Miller would see them for what they were, survivors, not criminals. Miller was in the barn when they arrived. He was an old man, weathered by 60 years of hard living. He looked up when he heard the horses. His eyes narrowed. Cross. Mr. Miller, you got a lot of nerve showing up here. Hackett wants your head on a stick. Hackett attacked my wife. I defended her. Miller's gaze flicked to Ayanna. She sat straight on the mule, her chin up. That the girl everyone's talking about? She's my wife. Her name is Ayanna. Miller walked closer. He studied her. Not with lust, with curiosity. You chose him? Yes. Why? Because he is a good man. Miller grunted. He looked at Samuel. What do you want, Cross? I want you to tell the truth. If Pike or anyone else comes asking, I want you to tell them I didn't ambush nobody, that they came to my home, that they tried to take her by force. Why would I do that? Because it's the truth, and because you're a man who values truth more than politics. Miller was silent. He walked around them, inspecting, judging. Finally he stopped. Hackett says she cut him. That true? He was choking her, Samuel said. She defended herself. Good. Miller almost smiled. Boys had it coming for years. Arrogant little bastard. He looked at Ayanna again. You got spine, girl. I'll give you that. He turned to Samuel. I'll tell the truth, but Cross, that ain't gonna be enough. Pike's got powerful friends. You need more than one rancher's word. I know. That's why we're going to see Father Diego next. Miller raised his eyebrows. The priest, he's friends with Pike. Maybe, but he's also a man of God, and God don't look kindly on slavers. Miller chuckled. You got more faith than sense, but all right. Good luck, you're gonna need it. Father Diego was tending his garden when they arrived at the mission. He was a small man, round in the belly, with kind eyes and dirt under his nails. He looked up when he heard them approach. Mr. Cross, I have heard much about you. I imagine you have. Most of it unfavorable. Diego set down his trowel. He wiped his hands on his robe. And this must be the young woman everyone speaks of. Her name is Ayanna. Ayanna. Diego smiled. A beautiful name. It means eternal bloom, does it not? She blinked, surprised. You speak Apache? A little. I worked at the San Carlos Reservation for 5 years. I learned what I could. He gestured to a bench. Please, sit. You have come a long way. They sat. Diego poured water from a clay jug. He offered it to Ayanna first. She took it, drank. Her guard was still up, but Diego's manner was disarming. Gentle. Reverend Pike says you kidnapped this woman, Diego said. Is that true? No. I found her chained to a wagon, half dead. I freed her? And Pike? What does he say? He says she was his ward, that he was saving her. Diego nodded slowly. Josiah Pike is a complicated man. He believes deeply in his mission. But he also believes the end justifies the means. I have disagreed with him many times on this. He looked at Ayanna. Were you his ward willingly? No, he bought me. From soldiers. He kept me chained. He beat me when I would not obey. Diego's face darkened. He bought you? Yes, for $60. Dear God. Diego stood. He paced, his hands clasped behind his back. That is slavery. The church condemns slavery. We always have. Will you tell that to a judge? Samuel asked. Diego stopped. If I speak against Pike, I make an enemy of powerful men. The territorial government funds our mission. They could cut that funding. We could lose everything. Or you could do the right thing, Ayanna said. Her voice was soft. You could stand for what you believe. Is that not what your God asks? Diego looked at her. For a long moment he said nothing. Then he smiled. It was a sad smile. You shame me, child. You are right. God asks us to stand for truth, even when it costs us. He turned to Samuel. I will testify. I will tell the judge what I know of Pike, what I have seen. It may not be enough, but it is what I can offer. Samuel stood, extended his hand. Thank you, Father. Diego shook it. Then he did something unexpected. He took Ayanna's hand. He pressed it gently. You are very brave, both of you. May God protect you. They collected 4 more statements over the next 2 weeks. A shopkeeper who'd seen Pike's papers and found them suspicious. A widow who'd lost her husband to men like Hackett and didn't trust them. A Mexican rancher who'd married an Apache woman himself and knew what it was to fight the world for love. And Silas Cooper, who finally found his spine and admitted he'd overheard Pike bragging about buying Ayanna. It wasn't much, but it was something. Samuel wrote it all down. Every name, every statement. He folded the papers carefully and put them in a leather pouch. If the law came, he'd have evidence. He'd have truth on his side. But truth, he knew, didn't always win. Ayanna's belly grew. By late April, she couldn't hide it anymore. The swell was obvious. She moved slower now. Her back ached, her feet swelled. But she didn't complain. She just worked, planting the garden, mending clothes, preparing. One evening, she was sitting by the fire sewing tiny shirts from soft cloth Samuel had bought. Her needle moved in steady rhythm. He watched her from the table where he was cleaning his rifle. You ever think about what happens after? He asked. After what? After the baby comes. After Pike. After all this. She looked up. I think about it every day. What do you see? She smiled. I see a house full of noise, children running, you teaching them to ride, to hunt, to read. I see us old, gray, sitting on that porch you built watching the sun set. Her smile faded, but I also see the fight. I see it lasting years. I see people hating us until the day we die. I see our children facing that hate too. Maybe we should leave, go somewhere else. We're California, Oregon. The hate is there too. It is everywhere. She set down her sewing. No, we stay. We fight. We make this place ours. So when our children ask why we can say we did not run, we stood. He crossed the room, knelt beside her, put his hand on her belly. The baby kicked, strong, insistent. You feel that? She whispered. Yeah. That is our future, fighting to be born. She covered his hand with hers. We will fight for it, Samuel. We will win. He wanted to believe her. God, he wanted to. Pike came again in early May. This time he didn't bring men. He brought the law. Judge Howard Calloway, circuit judge for the New Mexico Territory, Sheriff Brody, and a federal marshal named Stone. They rode up at noon. Samuel saw them coming. He stepped onto the porch. Ayanna stood beside him. Her hand rested on her belly. 8 months now. The baby was due any day. Judge Calloway dismounted. He was a stern man, gray-haired, thin-lipped. He looked at Samuel, then at Ayanna. His expression didn't change. "Mr. Cross, I am Judge Calloway. I have a warrant for your arrest. Kidnapping, unlawful imprisonment, murder." Samuel's heart sank. "I didn't kidnap her. I saved her." "That is for the court to decide." Calloway pulled out papers. "Reverend Pike has filed charges. You will come with us. You will stand trial. And her? She will be returned to Reverend Pike's custody until her legal status is determined." "No." Ayanna stepped forward. "I will not go with him." "Ma'am, you don't have a choice." "I am his wife. I am carrying his child. I am a free woman." "You are a ward of the mission," Pike said. He'd been standing behind the judge. Now he stepped forward. His smile was thin, triumphant. "You are my responsibility. The court will decide your fate, not you." Ayanna's hand went to the knife at her belt. Samuel caught her wrist. "Don't. I will not let them take you. They got the law. We got papers. We got witnesses. We'll fight this in court." "Samuel, trust me." He looked at her, poured everything he felt into that look. Love, fear, desperation. "Please, trust me." She was shaking, but she nodded. Marshal Stone stepped forward. He pulled out irons. "Hands." Samuel held out his wrists. The cold metal closed around them. He looked at Ayanna. "You stay here. Lock the door. Don't let anyone in but Brody. I will come to the town. I will speak for you. No, you stay here. Keep yourself safe. Keep the baby safe." "Samuel, promise me." Her eyes filled. "I promise." They led him to a horse. He mounted awkwardly, his hands bound. He looked back at the cabin, at Ayanna standing on the porch, her hand on her belly, her face pale. He didn't know if he'd ever see her again. The jail in Santa Fe was a small stone building. 1 room, 4 cells. They put Samuel in the back cell, the farthest from the door. The irons came off, but the bars stayed locked. Brody brought him food that night. Beans, hard bread, water. "This is bad cross," Brody said. "I know. Pike's got 3 witnesses saying you ambushed them, that you shot first. That's a lie." "I know. But they're gonna say it under oath. And Calloway, he's a hard man. He don't like Indians. He don't like men who marry Indians. He's already decided you're guilty." Samuel's chest tightened. "What about the statements I got, the witnesses?" "I gave 'em to the prosecutor. He looked 'em over, said they're just character references, not evidence. Said Pike's got legal papers proving she was his ward. That makes you the criminal." "She ain't his ward, she's his slave." "I know that, you know that, but proving it, that's different." Brody lowered his voice. "There's talk cross, Pike's friends. They're saying things. Saying you should be made an example of. That you're a danger. That men like you encourage other whites to mix with Indians. They want you gone." "Hanged." Brody didn't answer. He didn't have to. Samuel sat on the cot, put his head in his hands. "I got a wife, a baby coming. I can't." "I know. What do I do?" Brody was quiet. "Then, you pray. And you hope the judge has a conscience." The trial was set for 3 days later. They brought Samuel to the courtroom in chains. The room was packed. Townspeople, ranchers, Pike and his supporters. Everyone wanted to see the squaw man get what he deserved. Judge Calloway sat at the bench. His face was stone. "Mr. Cross, you are charged with kidnapping, unlawful imprisonment, and the murder of Jebediah Smith. How do you plead?" Not guilty. Noted. Calloway looked at Pike's lawyer, a sharp-faced man named Thornton. Proceed. Thornton stood. Your Honor, the evidence is clear. Mr. Cross abducted a ward of the church. He held her against her will. When Reverend Pike and his associates attempted to retrieve her, Mr. Cross opened fire. He killed Mr. Smith in cold blood. 3 witnesses will attest to this. Clay Hackett took the stand first. His face was still scarred where Ayanna had cut him. He glared at Samuel. Tell the court what happened, Thornton said. We rode to Cross's cabin. Peaceful-like. Just to talk. We explained that the girl was Reverend Pike's ward, that we had papers. Cross didn't care. He pulled his gun, started shooting. Killed Jeb before any of us could draw. We ran for our lives. Did you threaten Mr. Cross or the girl? No, sir. We was just doing our Christian duty. It was a lie. Every word. But Hackett said it smooth, confident. The crowd murmured. They believed him. The drifter Tom testified next. Same story. Then a man Samuel didn't recognize. A friend of Pike's. All of them saying the same thing. That Samuel was a murderer, a savage, a man who'd corrupted an innocent girl. When it was Samuel's turn, he took the stand. He told the truth. He told them about finding Ayanna chained, about the fever, about Pike buying her, about the attack. Thornton tore him apart. Mr. Cross, isn't it true you were married to a half-breed woman before? My wife was Comanche and Irish, yes. And she died, yes. So you went and found yourself another Indian woman. Convenient. That ain't. Isn't it true you have a predilection for Indian women, that you seek them out? No, I saved her because she was dying. Or because you wanted her. Thornton leaned in. Tell me, Mr. Cross, did you force yourself on her? Samuel's fists clenched. No. Did you tell her she owed you, that she had to stay with you? No, she chose. She was your captive. She had no choice. Thornton turned to the jury. Gentlemen, this man is no hero. He is a predator. He took a vulnerable woman. He corrupted her. He killed a man who tried to save her. And now he asks for mercy. He pointed at Samuel. This man deserves none. The crowd erupted. Shouts, applause. The judge banged his gavel. Samuel's lawyer, a young man named Morris who'd agreed to take the case for almost nothing, called witnesses. Father Diego testified. Miller testified. The Mexican rancher. They spoke of Samuel's character, of Ayanna's choice, of Pike's cruelty. But Thornton destroyed them too. He called them Indian lovers, traitors to their race. The jury's faces were hard, unmoved. When the trial ended, Judge Calloway didn't deliberate long. Mr. Cross, I find you guilty of kidnapping and unlawful imprisonment. The murder charge is reduced to manslaughter. You will hang at dawn 3 days hence. The courtroom exploded. Samuel couldn't hear, couldn't think. All he could see was Ayanna's face. The baby. The life they'd never have. They dragged him back to the cell. He didn't fight. What was the point? That night he lay on the cot and stared at the ceiling. He thought about Alara, about the baby who'd never cried, about Ayanna alone in the cabin waiting for him. He'd failed again. He'd failed them all. Ayanna came the next morning. Brody let her in. She was huge now. The baby was coming soon. She could barely walk, but she came. She stood outside his cell, her hands gripping the bars. Samuel! He stood, crossed to her, put his hands over hers. You shouldn't be here. It ain't safe. I do not care. Her eyes were red. She'd been crying. I will not let them kill you. Ayanna, there's nothing... No. Her voice was fierce. We do not give up. We fight. How the judge made his ruling. It's over. It is not over. She leaned close, whispered, Tonight, Brody will leave the door unlocked. You run. You take Mercy. You ride north. I will meet you at the canyon. We will go together. Brody would never... He already agreed. He does not believe you are guilty. He will not watch you hang." Samuel stared. "If we run, they'll hunt us. They'll never stop. Then we keep running. Or we find a place they cannot reach. But we do not let them kill you. I will not raise our child alone. I will not." Her voice broke. "Please, Samuel, please." He looked at her, at the woman who'd been broken and had rebuilt herself, who'd fought when she should have run, who loved him despite the cost. "All right," he whispered. "Tonight, we run." She kissed him through the bars, hard, desperate. "I love you." "I love you too." That night, the door to his cell swung open. Brody stood there. He didn't say a word, just handed Samuel his gun belt, his rifle, his hat. "Go," Brody said, "before I change my mind." Samuel didn't hesitate. He ran. Mercy was tied behind the jail. He mounted, rode hard, north, to the canyon, to freedom, to Ayanna. The night swallowed him whole. The canyon was 10 miles north. Samuel pushed Mercy hard. The mare's breathing came in heavy gasps, her sides heaving, but she didn't slow. The moon was a thin crescent. The darkness was absolute. Every shadow looked like a rider, every sound like hoofbeats behind him. He reached the canyon mouth just before midnight. Ayanna wasn't there. He dismounted, waited. His hand stayed on his pistol. Minutes crawled by. 5, 10, 20. Where was she? Then he heard it. The creak of a wagon. Slow, labored. He raised his gun. A shape emerged from the darkness. Not a wagon, a mule cart, and Ayanna was driving it. She pulled the cart to a stop. Her face was pale, drawn. She was gripping the reins so hard her knuckles were white. "You came," she breathed. "Of course I came." He helped her down. She nearly collapsed. He caught her. "What's wrong?" "The baby. It is coming." His blood went cold. "When?" "Since this afternoon. The pains are close now." "Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you stay at the cabin?" "Get help." "Because they would have taken me. Pike would have claimed me the moment you were gone. I had to leave. I had to find you." She gripped his arm, her face twisted in pain. A contraction. She gasped, breathed through it. When it passed, she looked at him. "We cannot stay here. They will search the canyon at first light." "You can't ride. Not like this." "Then we walk. We hide. We do whatever we must." Another contraction hit. Harder. She cried out, doubled over. Samuel's mind raced. They were 10 miles from the cabin, 20 miles from town. There was nowhere to go, nowhere safe. And Ayanna was in labor. If he tried to move her now, she could die. The baby could die. He made a decision. "There's a cave," he said. "Half a mile up the canyon. I used it years ago when I was hunting. It's hidden, deep. We can wait there until the baby comes. Then we move." "Can I make it that far?" "You got to." He helped her back onto the cart, took the reins himself, led the mule up the narrow trail. Every bump made Ayanna gasp. Every jostle sent pain across her face. But she didn't complain. She just held on. They reached the cave just as another contraction hit. This one was brutal. Ayanna screamed. The sound echoed off the canyon walls. Samuel's hands shook as he helped her down, carried her into the cave. It was dark, cold. The air smelled of stone and old animal dens. But it was shelter. He laid her on the blankets he'd pulled from the cart, built a small fire near the entrance. The light pushed back the darkness just enough to see. Ayanna was breathing hard. Her forehead was slick with sweat. "How long between pains?" he asked. "Not long. Maybe 3 minutes." 3 minutes. That meant the baby was coming soon. He'd helped birth calves, foals, but never a human child, never his own. and the memory of Alara pale and bleeding wouldn't leave him. "I can't do this," he said. His voice cracked. "I don't know how." Ayana reached for his hand, gripped it, hard. "You can. You will. Because I cannot do it alone. What if something goes wrong? Then we face it together." She pulled him close. "Samuel, look at me." Her eyes were fierce, clear. "I am not her. I am not your wife who died. I am me. And I am strong. Do you understand?" He nodded, couldn't speak. "Good. Now help me." The labor lasted through the night. Hours of pain. Of Ayana gripping his hand so hard he thought his bones would break. Of her screaming and then going silent, too exhausted to scream anymore. He gave her water, wiped her face, told her she was strong, told her she could do this, but inside he was terrified. The contractions were close now, one on top of the other. Ayana was pushing, her face was red, strained, she was sobbing between pushes. "I can't," she gasped. "I can't anymore." "You can. You're almost there." "No, no, it is too much. I cannot." "Yes, you can." He moved behind her, supported her back. One more push, and the baby's here. I can see the head. Come on, Ayana, fight. She screamed, pushed, and the baby came, all at once, a rush of blood and fluid and life. Samuel caught the tiny body, slippery, warm, alive. The baby didn't cry. Panic seized him. He wiped the baby's face, cleared the nose, the mouth. Still nothing. No sound. No movement. "Samuel!" Ayana's voice was weak, terrified. "Is the baby?" He turned the baby over, rubbed the small back, hard. Come on, breathe." And then, a cough, a sputter, a thin, reedy wail that filled the cave. Samuel started crying. He couldn't help it. Relief and joy and disbelief crashed over him all at once. He wrapped the baby in a clean cloth, brought her to Ayana. "It's a girl," he said. His voice shook. "We have a daughter." Ayana took the baby, held her against her chest. The baby stopped crying, nestled close. Ayana was crying too, smiling through the tears. "She is beautiful. She's perfect." They sat there in the firelight, exhausted, bloodied, but alive, all three of them. Ayana looked up at him. "Kate. We will call her Kate." "Yeah." He kissed Ayana's forehead, then the baby's. "Kate, our daughter." They stayed in the cave for 2 days. Ayana was too weak to move. The bleeding had been heavy at first, but it slowed. She was pale, exhausted, but alive. The baby nursed, strong pulls. She was healthy, small but fierce. Samuel kept watch. He slept in shifts, an hour here, 2 hours there. He listened for riders, for dogs, for voices. But the canyon stayed quiet. On the 3rd morning, Ayana sat up. "We need to move. You need more rest. We need to run." She looked at him. "They will find us soon. We cannot stay." She was right. He knew it. But where could they go north, into Colorado, west, into Arizona? Every direction was dangerous. Every town had law, had men who'd recognize them. "There's a place," Ayana said. "In the high mountains. My people used it as a winter camp. It is remote, hidden. No white men go there." "How far?" 3 days, maybe 4. "Can you make it?" "I have to." He helped her stand. She was shaky, but determined. He wrapped Kate in a sling against Ayana's chest, packed what little they had, led them out of the cave. The journey was brutal. They moved slow. Ayana had to rest every hour. The bleeding started again. Not heavy, but enough to worry him. She didn't complain, just gritted her teeth and kept walking. On the second night, they heard dogs. Distant, but coming closer. Samuel's heart hammered. He led them off the trail, into the thick brush. They hid. Silent. Kate started to fuss. Ayanna put her to breast. The baby quieted. The dogs came within 50 yards. Samuel could hear men's voices. Rough. Angry. Pike's voice rose above the others. "They're here. I know they're here. Keep searching." Samuel's hand went to his gun. If they found them, he'd fight. He'd kill as many as he could. Buy Ayanna time to run. But the dogs lost the scent. The men moved on. Their voices faded into the distance. Ayanna let out a shaky breath. That was too close. Yeah. They didn't sleep that night, just held each other, held Kate, waited for dawn. They reached the mountain camp on the fourth day. It was high, above the tree line, a small valley surrounded by peaks. There were old fire rings, collapsed shelters, signs that people had lived here once, but it was abandoned now. "My people used this place 50 years ago," Ayanna said. "Before the soldiers came, before the treaties. It is sacred ground. The white men fear it. They will not come here." Samuel looked around. It was isolated, defensible. Fresh water from a spring. Game in the forests below. They could survive here. For a while, at least. "All right," he said. "We stay." They built a shelter. Crude at first. Just branches and hides. But over the next weeks, Samuel made it stronger. Walls. A roof. A door. He hunted. Brought back deer. Elk. They smoked the meat, dried it, prepared for winter. Ayanna healed. Slowly. The bleeding stopped. Her strength returned. And Kate grew. She was a loud baby. Hungry. Always wanting to be held. But when she slept, she was peaceful. Content. One night they sat by the fire. Kate was asleep in a cradle Samuel had carved from pine. Ayanna leaned against him. "Do you think they have stopped looking?" "No." "Will they ever?" "I don't know." He looked at the stars, countless, cold. Pike ain't the type to let go. And the law. They'll want to make an example. Show that you can't defy them and get away with it. So we live here forever hiding. Maybe, or maybe we wait. Years pass. People forget. New scandals come along. And one day we go back. Back to the cabin. Back to a life, a real one. Where Kate can go to school. Where she don't have to hide who she is. Ayanna was quiet. Then, "I want that, but I do not believe it will happen." "Why not?" "Because people do not forget hate. They pass it down. To their children. To their children's children. Kate will face what we face, maybe worse. Then we teach her to be strong, to fight back." "Is that enough?" He didn't have an answer. He just held her. Hoped it would be. Winter came early that year. The first snow fell in October. By November, the drifts were chest high. They were trapped, cut off from the world. But Samuel didn't mind. For the first time in months, he felt safe. The snow was a wall, a barrier. No one could reach them here. Kate's first word was, "Pa." Samuel was chopping wood when he heard it. He turned. Kate was sitting on a blanket by the fire. She looked at him, grinned. "Pa." His throat closed. He dropped the axe, crossed to her, scooped her up. "That's right. I'm your pa." Ayanna laughed. She has been trying to say it for days. She finally got it right. She's smart, takes after her ma. Kate grabbed his beard, pulled. He winced. Ayanna laughed harder. It was a sound he'd never get tired of. That night, they lay together in the small bed he'd built. Kate was between them, asleep. Her tiny hand curled against Ayanna's chest. "We made it," Ayanna whispered. "Yeah, we did." "Do you regret it?" Running, giving up the cabin. He thought about it. The cabin had been his refuge, his fortress against the world. But it had also been a tomb, a place where he'd buried himself alive. Now in this crude shelter in the middle of nowhere, he felt more alive than he had in years. "No," he said. "I don't regret it." She smiled, kissed him. "Good. Neither do I." Spring arrived slowly. The snow melted. The valley turned green. Samuel ventured down the mountain, hunted, scouted. He saw no one, no signs of riders, no pausas. The world had moved on, or so he thought. He was returning from a hunt when he saw the smoke, thin, rising from their camp. But he hadn't left a fire burning. Ayanna knew better. He dropped the deer carcass, ran, his rifle ready, his heart pounding. He burst into the clearing. 3 men were there, not Pike's men, different. They wore buckskins, long hair. One of them had a scar across his face. They were standing near the shelter. Ayanna was in front of them, Kate behind her. Ayanna's hand was on her knife. "Get away from them!" Samuel shouted. He raised his rifle. The scarred man turned. He didn't draw, just held up his hands. "Easy, friend. We ain't here to hurt nobody." "Then what are you doing here?" "We're trappers. Came up here looking for beaver, saw the smoke, wanted to see who was fool enough to be up here." He looked at Ayanna, at Kate. His eyes widened. "That your family?" "Yeah." "You the one they're looking for, Samuel Cross?" Samuel's finger tightened on the trigger. "Who's asking?" "Name's Garrett. This here's Tom and Billy. We heard about you. Heard you killed a man. Ran off with an Indian girl." He grinned. "Also heard you escaped jail. That true?" "What if it is?" "Then I'd say you got guts." Garrett lowered his hands. "Look, we ain't law. We ain't bounty hunters. We're just trappers trying to make a living. We don't care what you done. We don't care who you married. Ain't our business." Samuel didn't lower the rifle. "Why should I believe you?" "Because if we wanted you dead, you'd be dead already." Garrett nodded toward Ayanna. "Your woman there, she's quick with that knife, but she can't take all 3 of us, and neither can you. So how about we all just calm down and talk like civilized folk?" Ayanna looked at Samuel. He could see the fear in her eyes, but also trust. She was leaving the decision to him. Slowly, Samuel lowered the rifle. "Talk fast." Garrett sat by the fire. The other 2 followed. Samuel stayed standing. "Ready." "We've been trapping these mountains for 5 years, Garrett said. "Ain't seen another soul in all that time. This land, it's wild, untamed. Folks down in Santa Fe, they think it's cursed. They won't come here, which makes it perfect for people like us, people who want to be left alone." "What's your point?" "My point is, you picked a good spot. You could live here the rest of your life, and nobody'd bother you. But it's gonna be hard. Winters are brutal. Game gets scarce. You got a woman and a baby. That changes things." "We'll manage." "Maybe. But you don't have to do it alone." Garrett looked at his companions, then back at Samuel. "We got a camp about 10 miles east, just the 3 of us. We trade furs down in Taos twice a year. Make enough to survive. We could use another man. Someone who knows how to hunt, how to fight. And your woman, she Apache." Ayanna stepped forward. "Yes." "You know these mountains?" "Some. My people hunted here long ago." "Then you know where the game runs, where the water is. That's valuable." Garrett stood. "I'm offering you a partnership. You help us trap. We help you survive. We don't ask questions. We don't judge. We just work. What do you say?" Samuel looked at Ayanna. She was thinking, calculating. Finally she nodded. "All right," Samuel said. "But we got rules. You don't touch my wife. You don't touch my daughter. And if you betray us, I kill you." Garrett grinned. "Fair enough." He extended his hand. Samuel shook it. The partnership worked. Garrett and his men were rough, hard living, but they kept their word. They didn't ask about Samuel's past. Didn't care that Ayanna was Apache. They just worked. Samuel learned to trap beaver, mink, fox. It was cold, wet work, but it paid. Twice a year they hauled the furs down to Taos, sold them, bought supplies, coffee, sugar, ammunition, cloth, things that made life bearable. Ayanna became friends with Garrett. He was older, 50 maybe. He'd left civilization after his wife died of cholera. He understood loss. He understood running. He treated Ayanna with respect, called her ma'am, played with Kate, made her laugh. For 2 years they lived like that, hidden, free. The world below forgot about them, or gave up searching. It didn't matter. They were safe. Kate grew. She learned to walk, to talk. She had Samuel's gray eyes and Ayanna's black hair. She was fearless, climbing trees, chasing rabbits, laughing at everything. She didn't know she was supposed to be afraid, didn't know the world would hate her for being born. One night, Samuel and Ayanna sat by the fire. Kate was asleep inside. Garrett and the others were at their own camp. It was just the two of them, alone. "Do you miss it?" Ayanna asked. "Miss what?" "The cabin, the life we had before." He thought about it. Sometimes, but not enough to go back. What if we could live without fear? I don't think that day's coming. Maybe not for us. She looked at the shelter, at Kate sleeping inside. But maybe for her. Maybe if we fight long enough, if we survive long enough, the world will change. And she will not have to hide. You really believe that? I have to, because if I do not, then what are we fighting for? He pulled her close. We're fighting to live. That's enough. Is it? It has to be. The end came in the spring. They were at the Taos market, selling furs, buying supplies. Samuel was careful. He kept his hat low, his beard long. He didn't talk to anyone except the traders. But someone recognized him. A man. Older. Balding. He'd been on the jury. Samuel saw the recognition in his eyes. Saw the man turn. Hurry away. "We need to go," Samuel said. "Now." "What is wrong?" "Someone made me. We got maybe an hour before the law comes." They abandoned half the supplies, mounted their horses, rode hard, but it wasn't enough. By the time they reached the mountain trail, riders were behind them. 6, maybe 7, led by a federal marshal. Samuel didn't stop. He pushed the horses harder. Ayanna rode beside him, Kate strapped to her chest. They reached the camp, grabbed what they could. Food, weapons, blankets. Garrett was there. He saw the panic. "What happened?" "Law's coming. We got to run." "Where?" "Don't know, just away." Garrett nodded. He started packing his own gear. Tom and Billy did the same. "We'll split up, draw them off, buy you time." "You don't have to." "Yeah, we do. You're our friend, and friends look out for each other." Garrett gripped Samuel's shoulder. "You take care of that woman and that baby. You hear me?" "I will." "Good. Now go." Samuel didn't argue. He grabbed Ayanna, lifted Kate. They ran, into the forest, into the unknown. Behind them gunfire erupted, shouting, the sound of men dying. Samuel didn't look back. He just ran. And prayed they'd make it. They ran for 3 days, through forests so thick the sun barely touched the ground, over ridges that tore at their boots, down ravines that threatened to break their ankles with every step. Kate cried from hunger, from exhaustion. Ayanna tried to nurse her while walking, stumbling over roots, her body screaming for rest. Samuel pushed them forward. He had to. Behind them, the sound of pursuit never stopped. Dogs baying, men shouting. Men. The crack of rifles echoing through the trees. On the 3rd night, they collapsed beside a frozen stream. Samuel built no fire. Too dangerous. They huddled together under a single blanket, shivering. Kate whimpered. Ayanna rocked her, her own teeth chattering. "How much further?" Ayanna whispered. "I don't know." "Samuel, we cannot keep running. Kate needs food. Real food. I need rest. My body is... Her voice broke. I am failing her. You ain't failing nobody. Look at her. Ayanna pulled back the blanket. Kate's face was gaunt, her eyes sunken. 2 years old, and she looked like a starved animal. She is dying, slowly, and I cannot stop it. Samuel looked at his daughter. Guilt crushed his chest. This was his fault, all of it. He'd chosen love over safety. He'd chosen Ayanna over the law. And now Kate was paying the price. There's a trading post, he said, 40 miles west, run by a French trapper named Duchamp. I met him years ago, before the war. He don't care about American law. He hates marshals. If we can reach him... 40 miles. Ayanna's voice was flat. I cannot make 40 miles. You can. You will. Because the alternative is dying here. He gripped her shoulders. Ayanna, listen to me. I will carry you both if I have to. But we are not stopping. We are not dying. Not after everything we've survived. She stared at him, then nodded. All right, we go. John. They reached Duchamp's post 6 days later. Samuel was carrying Kate. Ayanna was leaning on him, barely able to walk. They stumbled into the clearing. The post was a log structure, squat and weathered. Smoke rose from the chimney. Samuel pounded on the door. Duchamp, it's Samuel Cross, open up. Silence. Then the scrape of a bar being lifted. The door opened. A massive man stood there. 6'5", barrel-chested, a gray beard down to his belly. He held a shotgun. Cross. Duchamp squinted. Sacre bleu. I heard you were dead. Not yet. Duchamp looked at Ayanna. At Kate. His expression softened. Mon Dieu. Get inside. Quickly. They stumbled in. The warmth hit Samuel like a fist. His legs gave out. He collapsed. Duchamp caught Kate before she hit the floor. Easy, mon ami. You are safe now. Duchamp laid Kate on a cot. He turned to Ayanna. Sit. I will make food. Ayanna sank into a chair. Her hands were shaking so badly she couldn't hold the cup of water Duchamp gave her. He held it to her lips, made her drink. How long have you been running? Duchamp asked. 9 days, Samuel said. And before that, 2 years, hiding in the mountains. Duchamp whistled low. And they still chase you. What did you do? Kill the governor. Married an Apache woman. Had a child. That's all. Duchamp stared. Then laughed. It was a bitter sound. Ah, yes. That is enough for these American pigs. They hate love more than they hate murder. He disappeared into a back room, returned with bread, dried meat, a jar of honey. Eat. Then we talk. Samuel forced food into his mouth. He could barely taste it. Beside him, Ayanna fed Kate tiny pieces of bread soaked in honey. The baby ate slowly, then faster. Color returned to her cheeks. When they were done, Duchamp sat across from them. Who hunts you? Federal Marshal name of Stone. Maybe others. I don't know. Stone. Duchamp spat. I know this man. He is a dog. Relentless. He will not stop until you are dead or in chains. I know. So what will you do? Samuel looked at Ayanna. She was watching him. Waiting. I don't know. We can't keep running. But we can't go back. Then you go forward. What? North. To Canada. British territory. American law does not reach there. You cross the border, you are free. Samuel blinked. Canada. He'd never considered it. How far? From here, 300 miles. Maybe more. 300 miles. Through wilderness. With a woman who could barely walk and a 2-year-old child. It was suicide. But what choice did they have? Can we make it? Ayana asked. If you are strong, if you are lucky. Duchamp stood. He pulled down a map from the wall, spread it on the table. There is a trail, old, used by fur traders 50 years ago. It runs along the mountains, avoids towns, avoids roads. If you follow it, you can reach the border in 6 weeks, maybe 7. What about supplies? I will give you what I can. Food, ammunition, a better horse. But Cross, you must understand. This is not a trail for the weak. Men die on it. Women, children. The cold alone will kill you if you are not careful. We'll be careful. Duchamp looked at Kate, at Ayana. His face was grim. I hope so. So, they left the next morning. Duchamp had given them everything he promised. Food enough for a month. 2 good horses, blankets, coats, a map with the trail marked in charcoal. He stood at the door as they prepared to leave. One more thing, Duchamp said. He handed Samuel a letter. If you make it to Fort Edmonton, give this to a man named Red Bear. He is Cree. He will help you. Why would he help us? Because I saved his life once. He owes me. Duchamp gripped Samuel's hand. Bonne chance, mon ami. You will need it. They rode north. The trail was rough, narrow. In places it disappeared entirely, swallowed by time and weather. Samuel navigated by landmarks, by instinct, by prayer. Ayana rode behind him, Kate strapped to her chest. She was stronger now. The food and rest had helped, but Samuel could see the strain in her face, the fear. She knew the odds. She knew what they were riding toward. Do you think we will make it? She asked one night. I don't know. That is not the answer I wanted. It's the only one I got. He looked at her. But I promise you this. If I have to die to get you and Kate across that border, I will. Do not say that. It's the truth. She reached for his hand. Then I promise you this. If you die, I will carry Kate across myself. I will not let your sacrifice be for nothing. Ayana. No, you do not get to be the only one who makes promises. Her eyes were fierce. We are in this together, until the end. Whatever that end is. He pulled her close, kissed her hard. Together. They were 30 miles from the border when Stone found them. It was dawn. Samuel was saddling the horses. Ayana was packing their gear. Kate was playing near the fire, stacking rocks. A normal morning. Peaceful. Then the gunshot cracked. The bullet hit the tree beside Samuel's head. Bark exploded. He dove, grabbed his rifle. Run! He shouted. Ayana, run! She scooped up Kate, bolted for the horses. Another shot. The horse reared, screamed, went down. Blood poured from its neck. Samuel fired back. He saw riders, 4 of them. Stone was in front. He was grinning. Cross! Stone's voice echoed. It's over, surrender, and I'll let the woman and child live. Like hell you will. Samuel fired again, missed. The riders spread out, flanking him. Ayana was trapped. The horse was dead. Kate was screaming. She looked at Samuel. He saw the decision in her eyes. She was going to run, on foot, into the forest. Go, he shouted. I'll hold them. Samuel, go. She ran, Kate in her arms, disappearing into the trees. Stone saw. He spurred his horse, gave chase. Samuel stood. He fired, dropped one rider, then another. The third came at him from the side. Samuel swung the rifle, cracked the man across the face. The rider fell. Samuel shot him. But Stone was gone, chasing Ayana. Samuel ran after them. His lungs burned. His legs screamed. He could hear Kate crying, hear Ayana's ragged breathing, hear Stone's horse crashing through the brush. He burst into a clearing. Ayana was there, backed against a cliff, nowhere to run. Stone was dismounting, his gun drawn. It's over, girl, Stone said. Put the baby down. Come with me, quiet like. No, Ayana's voice was steady. She set Kate down behind her, pulled her knife. "You will not take me. You will not take her. Don't be stupid. I will shoot you." "Then shoot." Stone raised his gun. Samuel raised his rifle. He had one shot, one chance. His hands were shaking. The distance was too far. 50 yards, maybe 60. If he missed, Stone would kill them both. He aimed, breathed, squeezed. The rifle kicked. The bullet flew. It hit Stone in the chest, dead center. The marshal staggered, looked down at the blood spreading across his shirt, looked up at Samuel. His mouth opened. No words came. He fell. Samuel ran to Ayanna, grabbed her, held her. Kate was wailing. He picked her up, held them both. "Is he dead?" Ayanna asked. Samuel looked at Stone's body. The marshal wasn't moving. "Yeah, he's dead." "Are there more?" "I don't know, but we can't wait to find out." He looked north, at the mountains, at the border somewhere beyond. "We're close, 20 miles, maybe less. We run now. We don't stop until we're across." Ayanna nodded. She was crying, not from fear, from relief, from exhaustion, from the weight of everything finally lifting. They took Stone's horse, rode double, Kate between them. They pushed hard, didn't stop for food, for water, for rest, just rode. The border came at sunset. It was marked by a stone cairn, nothing official, just a pile of rocks left by travelers. But it was the line, the dividing point between America and Canada, between slavery and freedom. Samuel dismounted. He stood before the cairn. His body was shaking, not from cold, from emotion. "We made it," Ayanna whispered. "Yeah." His voice broke. "We made it." She slid off the horse, stood beside him, Kate in her arms. They looked back, at the country that had hunted them, that had tried to destroy them, that had failed. Then they looked forward, at the wilderness stretching north, unknown, wild, free. "What do we do now?" Ayanna asked. "We live." He took her hand. "We find a place, build a cabin, raise our daughter, and we live. Without fear." Without fear. She smiled. That small, rare smile that made everything worth it. "Then let us go." They crossed the border, stepped over the invisible line, and with that step, everything changed. They were no longer fugitives, no longer criminals. They were just a man, a woman, and a child, a family. They found a valley 3 days north of the border. It was remote, beautiful. A stream ran through it. Forests climbed the surrounding hills. Game was plentiful. It was everything they needed. Samuel built a cabin, bigger this time, with 2 rooms, a real door, a stone fireplace. It took him all summer. Ayanna worked beside him. Kate played in the dirt chasing butterflies, laughing at the wind. By fall, the cabin was done. They moved in. That first night, Samuel stood on the porch, looking out at the valley. His valley. His land. No one could take it. No one could tell him to leave. Ayanna came out, wrapped her arms around him from behind. "What are you thinking?" "That we made it. Against all odds. We survived." "We did more than survive." She turned him to face her. "We won." He looked at her. This woman who'd been chained and beaten and left for dead, who'd fought her way back to life, who'd given him a reason to live again. "Yeah," he said. "We won." Kate ran out. She was 3 now, tall, strong. She had his stubbornness and Ayanna's fire. She grabbed his hand. "Pa, come see Mama says there's deer." He let her pull him inside. Ayanna had spotted a small herd near the stream. They watched from the window as the deer grazed. Peaceful, unafraid. "They do not run," Kate said. "Why?" "Because they are safe," Ayanna said. "Nothing hunts them here." Kate looked up at Samuel. Are we safe too? He knelt, met her eyes. Yes, little one, we are safe. Forever. Forever. She smiled, hugged him, then ran off to play with the wooden horse he'd carved for her. Samuel stood. Ayanna was watching him. Do you believe that? That we are safe forever? No, he said honestly. The world's too big, too cruel. Someday something will threaten us again. But we'll face it, like we always have. Together. She nodded. Together. That night they lay in their bed, Kate asleep between them. The fire crackled. The wind whispered. Samuel felt peace, real peace, for the first time in years. Samuel, Ayanna whispered. Yeah, thank you. For what? For saving me. For loving me. For giving me a life. He kissed her forehead. You saved me too. You gave me a reason to live. You gave me Kate. You gave me everything. She was quiet. Then, do you think our story is over? No, it's just beginning. Good. She smiled in the darkness. Because I want more. More children. More years. More life. Then that's what we'll have. And they did. 10 years later, the cabin was bigger. 2 more children had joined them. A boy named Jack, a girl named Rose. The valley was a homestead now. Fenced pastures, a barn, chickens, goats. A life built from nothing. Kate was 13. She could ride better than Samuel. She could shoot better than most men. She could read and write. Ayanna had taught her. She was fierce, proud, unafraid. One day, a traveler came through. An old man. He was heading south. He stopped for water, for food. Samuel gave him both. You live here long? The old man asked. 10 years. Good land. You're lucky. Yeah, I am. The old man looked at Ayanna, at Kate, at the younger children playing in the yard. His face was thoughtful. I came through New Mexico last year, heard a story about a man named Samuel Cross. They say he killed a marshal, ran off with an Apache woman, disappeared into the wilderness, never found. He looked at Samuel. You know anything about that? Samuel met his gaze, steady. No, can't say I do. The old man smiled. Good, because I'd hate to think that man was still running, that he hadn't found peace. He stood, tipped his hat. Thank you for the hospitality, friend. He rode off, disappeared down the trail. Ayanna came to Samuel's side. Do you think he knew? Yeah, he knew. And he said nothing. Some folks understand. Some folks see 2 people who just want to live, and they let them. She took his hand. We are not who we were. No, we're better. That night they sat on the porch, watching the sun set. Kate was teaching Jack to ride. Rose was singing. A song Ayanna had taught her, in Apache. Samuel didn't understand all the words, but he understood the feeling. Joy, freedom, home. Do you have regrets? Ayanna asked. About what? Everything. The running, the fighting, the sacrifices. He thought about it. About the cabin he'd left behind. About the life he could have had if he'd just walked away that day. If he'd left her chained to that wagon. No, he said. I don't. Good. Neither do I. She rested her head on his shoulder. They sat like that as the stars came out, as the children laughed, as the world turned. Samuel Cross had been a broken man, a ghost, a man waiting to die. But he'd found something worth living for. He'd found love, family, freedom. And in the end, that was all that mattered. They had won. Not because they were stronger, not because they were smarter, but because they refused to give up. They refused to let hate win. They chose love, every single day, no matter the cost. And love, in the end, was the only thing worth fighting for.